Hey everyone, it's been a while since I actually had voice in a video, mainly because the last couple of videos of this I haven't really needed it for, but just wanted to show you a tool that I've been working on over the past 1 or 2 days. I think it's been. I think it's two. Yeah, I think it's 2 days. Yeah, as you can see here, this is the portal, the dimensional portal-based game or prototype that I've uploaded a few videos of before. Excuse me. Nothing much has changed here, except we've got like the appearing effects, and that box snake is new, but really that's just a bunch of boxes following a path and going through the portals. But yeah, here I've got a basic game set up. Go through the portals as normal, but you've seen all that before. What I did want to show you is a bug reporter that I've made, and obviously this isn't, well, not necessarily obviously, I guess a developer could use them too, but it's more or less for user bug reporting, or like if you had the game out for game testers, they would be able to report a detailed bug fairly easily and quickly, because as a lot of developers would know, just because a user finds a bug doesn't mean they know how to tell you about it. It's oftentimes you'll get a very undetailed explanation on what it is that's actually happened in the game, which is a bit annoying because that makes it a lot harder to actually fix the bug. But yeah, so I've created this to hopefully sort of solve those problems. Obviously, it won't solve everything, but some of those situations might be solved. So at the moment, due to the name NT Games, I'm just calling it the NT Bug Reporter, which you'll see in a second, and I guess you can sort of imagine it as a bit like the Steam overlay. From what I know, it should work in any game, in pretty much any situation, but I've still got a couple things to add and change, but we'll get to that later. But I've got the base functionality of it working as is. So to open it up, for now I know you can change this to whatever you want it to be. For me I've got it set to Shift B, so B for bug, so I push Shift B, and here we have the bug reporter interface. So start off with, you got the title NT Bug Reporter, and then Dimensional Shift is sort of like a prototype name for this game. That really depends on what you enter. This part here will always be the same though. But yeah, that depends on the person using the system. But yeah, this is the interface of the NT Bug Reporter. As you can see, it's paused the game behind it. And what that actually is a surface. And any fellow game developers would probably be aware that surfaces can be used to draw on, which is a big part of this bug reporter, is the ability to draw anything on this. So let's say this portal here is broken. So we'll circle that to let the developer know that the portal's broken. Just draw an arrow pointing to it as well. So that makes it abundantly clear that this is where the issue is for the developer later on. Down here we've got this text. If it's too low quality to read, it says enter comments here. Push enter afterward. Push enter after each one. So what we do is we come down here, and it's a typing box or a text box or an input box, whatever you want to call it. And we can specifically say exactly what's going wrong here. So we could say black portal is, I don't know, crazy. Now, I mean, you can probably expect as little detail as that, but you get more detail in another form, and I'll show you that in a bit. But yeah, so you leave a comment, you press enter, and that comment is logged by the system and stored for later. We can keep entering comments as many as you want. There is no limit at all, so we can say this is a cool game, Prototypes are fun. So we've now got three comments logged in the system. There's currently no way to view these, but I'm thinking about adding something in to be able to actually view the comments that you've entered and remove them as well. But I haven't actually gotten around to that part yet. Before we go ahead and finish up here, show the drawing tools you have. So you've got this one up here, which is the freehand tool. It's the one that's currently selected. You've got the line tool, so you can draw straight lines. The rectangle tool draws rectangles. The circle tool draws circles, and these other two circles here, you've got the small one and the big one, that grows and shrinks your brush size to a maximum of a width of 24. So if I click the big one a couple times and I'll draw right next to the circle, you can see that that is a lot thicker, and that applies to the line as well. Because of the way GameMaker does its circles and rectangles, it doesn't apply to those tools, which sort of sucks, but I mean, it's not that big of an issue. I mean, it's still useful. So yeah, I mean, I might get around to fix that, but it's not a big deal. Anyway, so yeah, you can draw on the image like that. And once the user's done outlining their defining their issues, you know, leaving comments and whatnot, whatever they feel like they need to do, you've got the export button on the bottom right corner here, which exports the bug report. This message here that shows up after clicking the export button pretty much explains why there is 4 save dialog boxes every time you click the export button. And the reason for that is because GameMaker's annoying sandboxing. For those of you that don't know what that is, basically GameMaker doesn't like saving outside of its app data folder. You can save outside of the app data folder. You can only do that using the get save file name function. I tried multiple ways to get around this. I tried renaming files, I tried using the get save file name function, and then just using the directory to save. Couldn't get any of it to work. Had the same repeated issue over and over again, so in the end I had to just sort of put up with it and say, okay, there's 4 separate save dialog boxes, which is annoying, but I mean, it's the only workaround I had, so you know, can only do what I can do. But yeah, so that just explains that. Alright, we click OK, and you choose where you want the bug to be exported. I put in default names, which will be more defined based on like the data was reported and whatnot. But for now, they're just really basic names, so it's just going to go to my desktop, so I click save. There's already one there, so I'm going to replace it. Save. If there is no other bug there, you won't get the overwrite options. And then it just says, with your bug report now exported, please put the exported files into a zip folder and send them to the developer. Couldn't do the zipping automatically because GameMaker only has a function to unzip files and not actually zip them, which is a bit annoying too, but I mean, again, I can only do what I can do. So yeah, I will cut to a new video showing the desktop where I will show you the files that have been exported. Just quickly, I'll also show you that by pressing Control B for me, and again this can be whatever you want, resumes the game from exactly where it was left off, hasn't changed anything, and then Shift B will reopen the bug reporter, but everything is cleared and reset, and it's like a whole separate bug. But yeah, so we'll now take a look at the actual files that have been exported. Okay, so here we are on the desktop, and we have these 4 files just here. 2 images and 2 text files. So the comments text file, which is actually the second one, but I want to show you this one first because I haven't spoken about the first one yet, is where the comments get saved. And as you can see, it says generated by the anti-bug reporter. Contains comments on the game that generated this file, has some game information, so the game title, the game version, and the build date of the game. And you can have, you can see the comments that we typed in just before listed here underneath the comments title. So yeah, that way the user can leave comments on the bug report in that form, which I think is extremely handy. Alright, so we can exit away, and next we have the debug info. Now this is where the detailed report stuff comes in. So the user doesn't touch any of this. This is actually generated as soon as the interface is open, and it's stored in a temporary text file in the app data folder, and then just resaved to the desktop when the user is ready to do that. But yeah, here we have information on objects, and for now it is pretty much only objects, but I mean I can add in extra things here and there, so consider this a basic version of what it might be later on. So I'll walk through it. So you've got the usual intro thing explaining the text file. You've got once again the game information, so you can use that to either match up the comments and the debug info, or just so you know what version it was from. And the objects are actually defined within GameMaker, and I'll show you that really quickly just now. I can't move this. Okay, I won't show you that just now, and I'll show you that in a little bit. My apologies. I'm using a different screen recorder, by the way, which is why I'm not used to it properly yet. Yeah, so back to this file. Basically, the objects are defined using a function when you're programming the game. So you say you want information on all the player objects in the game at any one time when the user interface is opened. It will do that. It will get the variables and whatnot and save them for you to access inside of these debug notes. So as you can see, I have said the player object is important, so we get information on that. We get the object's ID, how many there are up here, the X position, the Y position, the direction, the H speed, and the V speed. Just basic variables for now. I will probably be adding more. Excuse me once again. Yeah, so then we have the portals, or the portal parent object. There's 3 of those because there's 3 portals, and once again we get the ID numbers of those objects, X, Y, and just the same variables for each object. Then we have the boxes. There aren't any boxes in the room. Those boxes following the path are actually a separate object, which is why those aren't on here. As you can see, you've got the path box here, and there's 82 of those. And once again, you get the X position, the Y position, the direction, ID numbers, and the H speed and V speed on all of those. And because there's 82 of them, there's 82 entries for those objects, as you can see. So yeah, that's the debug info for now. So you get a better insight of the game when the bug occurred or when the user reported the bug. So that way the user doesn't have to worry about really explaining things. If they feel the need to explain something, they can leave a comment and draw on the canvas as you saw before, which is what we'll look at now. The first image is a blank, or not blank, but unedited screenshot. So it is just a plain screenshot of the game at the time that the interface was opened. And then the second image holds our edits. And as you can see, you've got your circle around the portal, the example of the tools I did, and the line thickness. It doesn't leave in any of the user interface. It's literally just the screenshot with the edits on it, and then you've also got the unedited one in case you need that. And as you can see, you've got some dots up here from where I was clicking the buttons, and that's one of the things I have to fix, is when you click a button it also draws behind the button, which isn't a massive issue, but it's just one of those little things that I'd like to fix, but I'll get onto that at some point. So I'll jump back into GameMaker now. I'll be back in a second. Okay, so now back in GameMaker, and I can now show you the code. Well, not all the code, but just the basic stuff. So here we have the initialization of the system. So here we type in whether the system is active or not, and the reason that's important is because you can leave the code in there and release your game and just disable the bug reporter for that release without actually having to change anything. You then enter a view and a screenshot view. Now the reason you have to do that is because the surfaces use the view surface ID function in GameMaker, meaning that you need one view for getting the screenshot of the game, and another view to actually just view the game normally, as you would if you're using, or if you weren't using views. That just doesn't edit the way the view functions at all, so you can add whatever number you want, and still change the view as you want. It just uses the view to view the game as it normally would initially. And then this last argument is the game title, which, as you saw before, goes up the top left when the system is open in the game, and also in the debug information as well. Here we have the objects being defined for the debug information, so it's ntbr, so nt bug report, add object function here. You literally just define the objects that you want it to keep track of, and they get added to a DS list, and the information is grabbed based on that. And the step event, and please excuse messy code, I haven't been trying to keep it neat at all. We've got the way things are working here, so this will be turned into a function, so you won't have to remember any variable names. But if the system's active, it checks if left shift and left control are being pressed, and also checks if Alt B has been pressed. So then if you're holding down shift and you press B, it will display the system. If you're holding down control and press B, it will close the system, just like that. And the draw GUI event, we just have ntbr draw and ntbr drawing step, and that's pretty much the step event, but of the draw event, because it's got to handle the drawing tools and whatnot as well. And because they're all based on services, that should indeed go in the draw event as it has. Apart from that, we've got the scripts here. It's using the easy text box engine I made, and I haven't actually showed you yet that before, but basically it's just a text box system I created. So it's using that as well, so that's included. And then you've got a few objects here, so you've got UI stuff here. Sorry, these three are UI. That's just a parent object to keep these organized and easier to handle. And then this control object pretty much does everything else. So basically you put the control object in the room and you're good to go. And all those will be included in the extension file once that's created. But yeah, that's basically it for the system. Let me know if you'd find it useful. Personally, I think it'll come in great use, because I'll be able to get detailed information when bugs happen from users. So as long as they know that the system's there, they can use that to report the bugs and keep things detailed and nice and easy. So yeah, let me know if you think that'd be useful. I may release it, I may never finish it, I really don't know, but I mean that's what I have so far. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's all I've got. So I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.